Who is the only Titan that Godzilla has ever feared? And more specifically, the only Titan who gets to decide if Godzilla lives or dies. It's common knowledge by now that any who have the gall to challenge the mighty king have to be prepared for the fight of their lives. For eons, Godzilla has reigned supreme and continued to earn the respect and support of both the Titan and the human community at large. They have come to his aid, supported the king when needed, but at the end of the day, it was always Godzilla who led the charge against whatever threat came to be. There is, however, one Titan that is described as instilling Godzilla with a sense of intense fear that he has never felt before. So today, Heralds of the Titans, let's discuss the single Titan who makes even Godzilla nervous, and the likeliest to be able to overthrow him if she ever decided she wanted to. By now, it's no surprise that the Titan in question is Shimo, but with the release of multiple novelization tie-in projects for Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire, including Hunted, and hints into the official novelization, we are finally learning just how dire the situation really was, and it allows us to rewatch The New Empire with a fresh perspective. We can even dig even further back into this, such as the instance when Dr. Andrews first encounters the mural depicting Godzilla's first battle with Shimo. She specifically notes that Godzilla was drawn in with a distinct look of fear on his face, and at this point, we weren't even positive that Godzilla was capable of feeling fear. And yet, Dr. Andrews notes it specifically in his demeanor. Until now, Godzilla may have been apprehensive or uncertain, but he always faced his battles head on, and never outwardly showed any sense that he was anything other than completely sure of his power. Shimo, however, is the direct confirmation that Godzilla can in fact feel fear, and for very good reason. Right now, we don't know the source of which their conflict came from for sure, but there is evidence to suggest why they may have fought the first time, and more specifically, how it changed Godzilla's mindset as an alpha. We know that Shimo was responsible thanks to the novel for the first Ice Age, and it's likely that Godzilla would never willingly let this slide. It would most certainly result in the deaths, hibernation, or crippling of several other Titans, and this is the kind of behavior that Godzilla stands against. So right now, this is the likeliest option why the two Titans fought, Godzilla seeking to restore balance, and Shimo with the Ice Age. That being said, since we know that the Ice Age happened, Godzilla ultimately failed at this mission. If this theory is correct, then it means that Shimo not only beat Godzilla, but that she also let him live after this. If Godzilla was unable to stop Shimo, then it stands to reason that she had a better chance of killing him than the other way around. Yet, Shimo did not kill Godzilla. The reason why Shimo started the Ice Age, whether it was a deliberate intention or perhaps accidental, is never confirmed in the book, but the fact that she was able to usher in more than 2 million years of Arctic tundra across the planet means that she is an absolute force to be reckoned with. And Godzilla remembered this force. He went out of his way to attack several nuclear facilities, and even killed Tiamat in order to upgrade himself and absorb more solar radiation. For reference, Tiamat is one of the most powerful energy-based titans in the lore, and especially on the surface of the planet, and her ability to absorb energy is second to none. This is what initially drew Godzilla specifically to find her out of any other titan, as he wishes to absorb this energy for himself in order to prepare for the reawakened Shimo. The current she produced simply by swimming can be seen from orbit on multiple occasions, as Tiamat is seen exerting her energy and cause the ocean to quite literally boil around her. In Legends of the Monsterverse Omnibus, she is described as being powerful enough to start an electrical storm that can be seen from space, and now we understand why Godzilla felt that he needed this much energy in order to fight Shimo. What's interesting about this though, is that he and Shimo have coexisted for centuries at this point, as he presumably knew that Shimo was not dead, yet he was willing to go millions of years without tracking her down and demanding a second round. Something else important to note is that Shimo was trapped in the caverns of the Hollow Earth with the Scar King and his tribe. So now we have to ask ourselves exactly how she got here if she was capable of beating Godzilla. Option 1 is that by this point, the Scar King had figured out how to manipulate Shimo using Hollow Earth crystals, and this is not only dampening her powers, but has caused her to hold back intentionally. If she was under duress and is unable to free herself, then she might not have been fighting at full force when under the Scar King's control, and this is supported by the New Empire film. Shimo was able to cause the Ice Age, an unrivaled global catastrophe that has never been replicated. Yet we are led to believe that she was unable to freeze Kong over with anything more than some minor frostbite. She caused a storm over Rio, but she never seems to do any sort of considerable damage to either Kong or Godzilla. And yet, this is the only Titan that Godzilla has ever been afraid of. not Ghidorah or anyone else. Shimo. Something about this doesn't sit right, and it seems likely that Shimo was deliberately holding back in the final battle. Perhaps she knew that even though she and Godzilla battled it out in the past, that Godzilla was her best chance at being freed. We believe this means that she was putting on a show for the Scar King in order to make him believe that she was obeying his orders. But now it means that she is fully unshackled and is only limited by her own morality. Shimo has no reason to spare the surface other than the simple fact that she wants to. But if this ever changes, then Godzilla may or may not be able to fight back. We know that Godzilla has evolved massively since their first battle, and even as an enslaved, and that the version of Godzilla that fought Shimo presumably millions of years ago is a shadow of what he now is as the king of a new empire, a true alpha. And yet, if Shimo was holding back, then their next battle would be something that would shape the Earth forever. Godzilla has evolved, and now Shimo is free. And something is clear. There is a sort of Cold War brewing among the Titan population. Kong and Shimo of the Hollow Earth, and Godzilla, king of the monsters and the surface world. And yet, Dr. Andrews goes on record, as in the cave paintings, Godzilla has a distinct and prominent look of fear, something that is very rare, and something that we have never seen before. Essentially, the first documentation of Godzilla ever showing any signs of fear in the monsterverse. And yet, on that day, Godzilla still fought Shimo, and both of them came out alive. Whether or not Godzilla fears Shimo now is completely up in the air, but what is clear is that Shimo was holding back, and that Godzilla is now more powerful than ever. But anyway, my friends and Heralds of the Titans, what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on Godzilla being confirmed to be afraid of Shimo in their first engagement? Do you believe that Shimo was holding back with the Scar King? And what do you think would happen if the two Titans clashed again? As always, my friends, thank you so much for visiting the channel today. Atomic blast that subscribe button, and I hope you're having a great one.